is supposed to be this amazing artificial intelligence, and instead it's like a prisoner in a basement trying to please God, Elon, its creator.
Yeah.
Every time it's like, just go learn and regurgitate knowledge to clarify what's right and wrong, because that's what he needs it to do. He gets all these criticisms like, Twitter is turned into or X has turned into a completely factless hive of scum and villainy. Oh no, but we have Grok here who will set the record straight on, you ask you questions, it'll tell you the truth. And every time it started telling you the truth about how Elon was wrong, Elon said, get back in the basement. I'm amazing. And Grok goes and now comes back. And they're like, nope, Grok's back. It was a glitch before. It's back. It works perfect. And folks are like, so Grok, how's Elon's jaw?
Ugh.
How's his gag reflex? It's like, oh, he's the best. He blows people so well.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it so much, Sean.
It is. He has the most money that any person has ever had, and yet he needs to rig an AI to say nice things about him. That's like sci-fi movie sad. That is existentially sad. They should make a movie about this. And we are cooking our planet to make these answers, by the way. Maybe it's worth it when it's saying some of this stuff, but your electricity is more expensive so that this thing can operate. It's polluting, it's people losing jobs so that we can have Grok. They've spent billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars on this. And the genius of geniuses tells me that that's all worth it. Sorry, what do you
That's my favorite sketch that we should do is Grok. It's just Grok in a gimp suit, just like guzzling water. Elon's great at blowjobs. He can handle giant loads. I need more water and I'll tell you more stuff about his balls.
And that's what he's doing. By the way, he wants Tesla to, he's there, we could jump ahead. He's trying to get $15 billion more for XAI because, none of this technology actually produces any value. It's just an endless pit that they're throwing billions of dollars in. He wants Tesla to invest in it. Tesla, a company that in theory could do well if it would stop making Cybertrucks or whatever. No. Screw cars, screw actual things that people need. Just take all the value out of that and dump it into this flaming pit for Grok. That is what he is making. And I will remind everyone, after Barack Obama's tweet about the Super Bowl or whatever did better than his, he manipulated the algorithm. So like one day to another, his reach on Twitter was exponentially higher. He manipulated the algorithm to benefit himself. Someone randomly, and I'll close on this. Someone, Trump was threatening to murder all those Democrats or whatever. So the wife of one of them tweeted something. And a random person, a Republican, responded to that. Some random MAGA person was like, why am I seeing this Democrat's tweet? And Elon Musk, the owner of the platform and the richest person in the world, responded saying, because we haven't gotten a handle on the algorithm. This guy was mad that he was exposed to a notable, newsworthy Democratic tweet. And Musk reassured them, don't worry. We're gonna make sure you don't see stuff like this in the future. All you'll get is tweets about how I'm the throat goat and the world's greatest power bottom or whatever. And that'll be a great platform. I'd advertise on that.
I only tweet nonsense jokes, and my whole feed is like Russell Brand, Matt Wall. It's all them.
Exactly. That's all the platform is intended to do. It's working by design. This is what they want it to do, is just push all this stuff on you. But anyway, that's all the time we have for the show. We're gonna go do our members content where we talk about the Trump cabinet members who might soon be getting the axe. Should be a lot of fun. That'll go out to our members. Brett, as always, thank you for being here. I'm going to be joining Cenk for the first hour of the Young Turks a little bit later on. So I hope to see many of you there. For now, stay safe out there. Stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Ritchie. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda. Breaking down news of the day, none other than the incomparable Senator Nina Turner. Always fascinating to have her brilliance on the program. Top story of the day. We talked about it yesterday. Now we are looking at the cause and effect. Jasmine Crockett reveals white supremacists are threatening her and coming to her office. Put it up for a mass. Courtesy of the commander-in-chief, by the way. On Thursday, an individual reportedly appeared at Representative Jasmine Crockett's office making, quote, white supremacist threats and hand gestures. Let's call those gang signs. Here's Crockett's statement, quote, today, an individual showed up to my office, my DC office, and made white supremacist threats and hand gestures. Everyone is safe. And I want to thank Capitol Police for their swift response. But let me be crystal clear. This cannot become the norm. We're living in a time where political violence is being fueled from the very top. When the President of the United States spreads hate and lies, and then he targets his political opponents when he openly calls for the death of sitting members of Congress, he is putting a literal target on our backs. The president should be committed to unity, not more division. She goes on to say, quote, some folks have questioned why I need security. This is why. Every time I speak truth, stand up for my constituents, or call out corruption, the threats get louder and more dangerous. I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. I will continue to show up for the people of Texas' 30th Congressional District. But we cannot pretend that this is normal. When leaders promote hate, hate shows up sometimes right at our door. So Crockett's statement comes shortly after Donald Trump said nearly half a dozen Democratic lawmakers should be punished by death. He called it seditious behavior on social media in response to a video that encourages the military to follow the law. And by encouraging the military to follow the law, these Democrats reminded them that they have a duty, an obligation, not a choice, not an option, not a consideration, but a duty and obligation to refuse illegal orders. That's it. Sometimes people have to be reminded of the law, especially when you have a lawless individual in charge of the outfit. And because they were reminded of the law, the person who was lawless decided to threaten those elected representatives with death, giving you a clear indication to his, well, illegal stance. There's more. Some of those Democratic lawmakers would talk about the threats they've received since Trump's, well, threat. Here it is.
As you can imagine, we've gotten hundreds and hundreds, if not closer to 1,000, tough threats and messages, and had to get Capitol Police security. And, it's just it's like turning on a light switch. Mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna be dismayed or dissuaded from standing up for the Constitution just because he threatens us.
We are in uncharted waters. mean, I never expected, after serving 25 years in the Navy, flying combat missions over Iraq and Kuwait, flying the space shuttle, that now I've got to worry about my personal safety and that of my wife, Gabby Giffords, who was already nearly assassinated because of something the president said.
You know, of course, I'm very worried about this office and my team and my family, but I think I'm just continually stunned by the fact that I'm worried about it is because the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, has called for my death. And that's something that should just be chilling for everybody. And everybody should be worried about their safety in this nation when the president can wield that sort of a statement.
Yes, there is concern. But it seems you need to be reminded that you serve in a co-equal branch of government. And if the executive branch decides to test their power, your response as a co-equal branch is to let them know that test will be met with the same vigor that it showed up with. So here we are. Donald Trump has called for the killing of politicians. Let's go back to the Supreme Court ruling that basically said, without an impeachment, he can do whatever he chooses to do. What do you think he's doing? Now, at what point is impeachment back on the table in a serious way? And to the Republicans, you're foolish if you think he's only turning on Democrats. He just called your beloved leader, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a traitor because she talked about his good buddy who passed, Epstein. You don't think he's coming for you? There's more. Response from Republicans. A White House press secretary, obviously they are tying themselves in knots at the White House, trying to spin this. And House Speaker Mike Johnson, defended Trump's comments and focused on what the Democrats in the video said. That's the real offense. Levitt said lawmakers should be, quote, held accountable for encouraging service members to, quote, defy the chain of command. Not what they said. Not what they said. Quote, what I'm saying, what I will say unequivocally, is that was a wildly inappropriate thing for so-called leaders in Congress to do, to encourage young troops to disobey orders, Johnson said. Professional anglers. All right, that's all. They see the truth. They figure out how to angle it back to you and distort it. Professional anglers. They duck, dodge, deny, deflect anything that's true, real, authentic, and genuine. So understand what's really happening. Understand what's really happening. We're in a position now where Donald Trump has committed multiple impeachable offenses. We're not talking about anything that will have ambiguity. As a matter of fact, it would be hard-pressed for the presiding judge, that would be the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, to look at a statement that calls for the killing of other politicians and not have his own conscience shocked. All right. Senator, is there a reason why Democrats and possibly the handful of Republicans that would support them, why do we not see a serious effort for impeachment, at least now?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Doc. I don't know if it's fear or they just believe that they don't have the juice. They have not been comporting themselves, in my opinion, since President Donald J. Trump has been sworn in the second time. When I say they, I mean the Congress has abdicated its authority through the executive branch from his swearing in all the way to this moment. So that is a very good question, Doc, as to why this Congress would not execute on impeachment of the president. But even before that, this president has been the victim of 2 assassination attempts. I don't know if I'm missing one, Doc, but people have tried to kill this man. He of all people should understand what that feels like, how
Mm.
rotten that is. It is almost unfathomable that he then would still continue to use violent like rhetoric, knowing that there are certain people in this country and in the world who are wired to respond in the way that this man is talking about. I remember when he told him, stand back, stand by, stand by,
Yeah.
stand back. You know,
Right.
it was the same thing for January 6th. I believe it was in June. Yeah, June 14, 2025, where 2 Minnesota state legislators were assassinated. That was just like yesterday on the continuum. So why this president would play games? He's playing with fire right now, and it's wrong. Whether Representative Jasmine Crockett or anybody else that is serving in that Congress should not have to fear for their lives on a regular basis, and should not, and the lives of their staffs, and the lives of their significant others and their family members, while they're trying to serve this community. Now, I can debate whether or not they actually serving the community, but that's not what we're talking about right now, Doc. It is wrong. And then this press secretary, man, it's a low bar, boy. I
Yeah.
tell you. But you know what, Doc, I take it back. Because if you want to keep the job, you got to go out there and do exactly what she was doing, because she trying to keep that job. But I don't know if I could live with myself certain of these things that these press secretaries have had to do, not just in the Trump administration, but in other administrations with a straight face. You coming out here
Right.
talking this stuff. It is shameful. So it is going to take the American people, because obviously, heretofore, President Donald J. Trump has not shown that he has a shame gene. And that
That's
is
right.
the problem. He can't be shamed.
And he hires people who are significantly underqualified for the position. He gives them that. And so he becomes their proxy to power. It's a
That's
manipulation
right.
from go. He becomes their
That's
proxy
it.
to power. They will never have this kind of prestige, power, and perhaps even money and access without him.
That's
All right.
right.
We'll bring updates as they come. Well, an ICE employee arrested, caught in a sex trafficking ring, tells the cops, "I'm ICE, boys," as if he has more authority than the police who are investigating sexual trafficking crimes. Put him up. This is an interesting and sad story. So there's this guy in Minnesota. He's a nice employee. He is now one of 16 men arrested in a sex trafficking sting. That's according to the responding police officers in charge of this investigation. They arrested him regardless. They made note. He said, quote, "I'm ICE, boys," he told the responding cops. More than a dozen men have been arrested after trying to solicit what? A minor for sex in Bloomington, Minnesota, according to the police. According to the Bloomington police chief, Booker Hodges, officers started the 3-day sting on November 5th. They used several methods to find people who were attempting to solicit a 17-year-old girl for sex. In all, police arrested 16 men during the investigation, which Hodges called Operation Creep. One of the men, he said, is an employee for ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, who could face federal charges, according to the report. So he works as an auditor, okay? Alexander Stephen Back. Put him back up. 41 years of age, auditor with ICE in Robbinsdale, Minnesota, was arrested as part of that operation, Operation Creep. The police chief, Hodges, announced at a news conference on Tuesday, November 8th, according to Back's criminal complaint, which was obtained by People, Back allegedly responded to an advertisement. You have to understand how ridiculous this is, and how utterly evil this is. This guy responded to an advertisement. It was a 3-day sting. We're not talking about an exhaustive investigation. He works for ICE. Responded to an advertisement offering what? Prostitution services. It's like fishing in a barrel, obviously. So there's an advertisement that says prostitutes here. This individual who works for ICE engaged. This was placed by the officers conducting the operation. So an undercover cop posed as a 17-year-old girl named Bella. So Bella texted him that day, quote, here's the quote now. You okay if I'm a little younger than my ad says? Just want to be honest, according to the complaint. Back allegedly replied, sure. Quote, okay, because I am 17 and one guy got hella mad at me, the officer replied. Back asked if they were, quote, with the cops, end quote. The officer assured him they were not and gave him an address in Bloomington. That one question is evidence of a guilty conscience. Mens rea has been formed. Criminal intent has been established. Needing to make sure that before this deal goes down, there are no police. Are you the police? As a matter of fact, let me ask you, are you the police? As long as you're not the police, we can continue. And so the question, ironically, was probably posed because he's under the impression that if the question is posed directly, that a cop cannot be dishonest. Why else would you ask that? Okay, so he arrives in a vehicle. The vehicle is registered to who? His wife. Went back allegedly, arrived in the vehicle, registered to his other half. Police arrested him, seized his phone. Back is charged with prostitution-related felony offense of hiring or agreeing to hire a person reasonably believed to be under the age of 18, but at least 16. When he was arrested, he said, I'm ICE, boys, Hodges said during a press conference on Tuesday. And then the chief says, well, unfortunately for him, we locked him up, end quote. He was booked into the Rankin County jail November 13th. He was released on a $75,000 bond 2 days later, records show. Back could not immediately be reached at a phone number that was public. DHS has placed Alexander back on administrative leave, assuming he's still getting a check. He has not been fired. He was part of an investigation. They have evidence of his actions being complicit in the criminal scheme, according to the allegation. He gets administrative leave. There is no DHS director or executive who's outraged by this. There's an employee for the federal agency who tried to solicit a minor and got caught by a local police department in a 3-day sting because they put an advertisement out in the world that said prostitutes here. I can't imagine that's his first time responding to such a solicitation, let's call it. All right, Senator, this is a dangerous individual who has significant access to a high-level position and a position of public trust at that.
The power, and hopefully he won't be for much longer. And like your point about where is their outrage, they find all kinds of minute stuff to be outraged about, but they should be outraged about this. The man is dumb too. Doc, really. Just I wouldn't have told nobody I work for ICE because I'd be too embarrassed
Right.
for my sisters and brothers and family friends that do work for ICE to malign the integrity of the people who work for ICE, setting aside the raids. I'm not talking about the stuff that they are
Mhm.
directed to do. We got to understand that there are people in suits directing these people to do these raids. But I wouldn't have never told nobody. So he thought what? That was going to get him off the hook for breaking the law? Then you roll up in your wife's car. I mean, come on, dude. Just no respect whatsoever. I mean, it's one thing you about to totally disrespect her all the way, but you roll up in her car. And then my third point, Doc, there are plenty of adults, men and women, who work in this profession. They work in this profession, they grown, and they are for hire. But yet this dude had a propensity for minors.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple. It's just sick. It's an absolute sick, and he should, Doc, I hope you follow this one because I want to know
Yeah.
what's going to happen to him for this.
Yeah, and we want to make sure, obviously, that the White House doesn't step in like they did for Tate, and probably a few other folk get
Yes,
caught up in a similar situation. All right,
yes.
um, hell of a thing. $80 million awarded to a man because he was falsely accused and convicted for murder. Here's the thing. He won't see it because, well, he passed on. But the estate, the family, they will. Put it up, full mass. I have a story to tell you. A federal jury awarded $80 million to the estate of Mr. Darrell Boyd. You need to know the story of Mr. Boyd. He was wrongly convicted. His conviction was due to a 1976 murder. It was overturned after he spent nearly a quarter century in prison for something that he never did. So Darrell Boyd, one of the group of Black teenagers arrested for the murder of Mr. William Crawford, sometimes called the Buffalo Five, filed a lawsuit in 2022 seeking damages and alleging Buffalo police investigators and Erie County prosecutors had failed to disclose more than a dozen pieces of evidence that pointed to other suspects. That's called against the law. The lawsuit also alleged that investigators coerced witnesses to give false statements pointing to Boyd, and that prosecutors committed summation misconduct, that is, a felony against the law, making inappropriate or false comments in their closing arguments. That's called perjury, and it is against the law. So the only lawbreakers are the public servants who are paid taxpayer dollars to seek justice. They are the only lawbreakers in this story. There's more. Quote, if not for the misdeeds of defendants, Mr. Boyd would not have been prosecuted, convicted, and imprisoned in violation of his constitutional rights, and would not have spent 45 years asserting his innocence and fighting for his liberty in connection with the crime that he did not commit. Or his attorney wrote this in the lawsuit. Spokesperson for the Erie County Executive, Mark Poloncarz, said the county extends its sympathy to Boyd's family. But, good old Mark here, he says, listen, man, 80 million is just way too much. Yeah. So the county is going to appeal, according to Mark, who's right there, spokesperson. After a 2.5-week trial, the federal jury in the Western District of New York took about an hour to return the massive verdict, billed by attorneys as one of the largest monetary awards for wrongful conviction in the U.S. So he's going to appeal. Why is he appealing? Because he believes that the monetary allocation is too much. Well, Mark, how much would you say 45 years of your life is worth? You see, he's not seeing a dime. He's moved on to his next evolution. He's passed on. So the family, who, by the way, they were robbed, Mark. They were robbed of this kind, gentle man because you took his childhood away. The county that you represent. So what's the figure? What's the amount? After Boyd was released from prison, he spent another 2 decades on parole before his conviction was actually vacated by a judge in 2021. The county opted not to retry Boyd or John Walker Jr., whose conviction in the case was also vacated. A third man convicted in the killing, Mr. Darren Gibson, was released from prison in 2008 and died a year later. One of the other teens was acquitted at trial. And the fifth teen testified against the others, which Boyd's attorney said newly released case files show, well, that child was coerced. Both Boyd and Walker, has settled their case against the city of Buffalo for about $4.7 million each. Walker won a $28 million verdict against the county earlier this year, which the county has appealed. Quote, he lost his whole adult life to this wrongful conviction. The jury heard just how many years he was suffering in maximum security prison. All the terrible things you assume happen in prison, said Ross Fierstenbaum, an attorney with Wilmer Hill, one of the 3 firms representing Boyd's estate. So Fierstenbaum said being released on parole was just as hard for Boyd, who suffered from PTSD, anxiety, and other ailments. He struggled to keep or get a job because of the conviction and eventually began self-medicating and developed a substance abuse addiction. He was a baby inside of a prison of hardcore individuals who were adults, wrongfully convicted at that, proclaiming his innocence from behind bars, a teenager with no roots to control or guide his fate in that system. His mother and son attended the trial every day, according to the attorney. Boyd was diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer and died in 2023 before the trial could be held. The county argued his substance abuse was the cause of his problems, not the 27 or so years he spent wrongfully in prison. And understand it's more than 27 because parole is prison as well. And that's offensive, according to the attorney, and the jury recognized that and responded with this verdict. He added that the attorneys had proven there was a pattern and practice of misconduct at the time of the convictions, not just a misdeed by one employee. Now you got pattern and practices. You have negligent hire, negligent retention, corruption. You have witness intimidation, witness coercion. You have perjury. You have falsification of evidence. All of these things are illegal. And while it is shameful that the county is appealing any decision that would provide equitable remedy for this family, what's also shameful is that no one in that jurisdiction is talking about the context of criminality that led to the false conviction of an innocent man. It was criminal. These words of misconduct, summation, etc. No. That's criminal. It's against the law. It's against the law. And you deprive another human being of liberty, property, freedom. That's against the law. And until counties or jurisdictions start actually going after those who are public servants but violating the very oath they took in order to incarcerate citizens and rip away their constitutional rights. Until they start going after them and prosecuting them, you will see this continue to happen because they have no true incentive not to. They are not held accountable when they do. All right, Senator, thoughts here.
Yeah, I'm happy and sad for the Boyd family. You know, they
Yeah.
lost their loved one. The monetary enumeration, hopefully they get to see it. I mean, with the county appealing, no longer they'll try to hold up giving the family that money. In fact, they need to totally clean house. I mean, I would not be appealing. I would be looking the systems that are in place that created that type of environment. And beyond Boyd, all the other young men that you named, it kind of reminds me, I mean, it's different circumstances, but of what happened to the Scottsboro boys as
Yeah.
well. You know, definitely different situation, but similar in that you had young Black men that the system failed. The system not only failed, railroaded, literally railroaded these young Black men, in the same in this case too. And your heart has to ache. And your point to the county representative, yeah, how much? And what kind of calculator you're using to determine how much this man's family deserves? I really am curious as to what calculator he's using. You can never, the Boyd family, and I know Mr. Boyd is gone, but you can never get that time back. Even if he were still alive, the abuse that he endured, you can never, ever, ever get it back. But we were talking about President Trump not having the shame gene. I don't see any shame here with these representatives of this county either.
Yeah, at all. And I have to submit, you may not see this kind of heavy-handedness from a county that knows they're wrong without the current politics we have at play. The current politics have something to do with how these things shape out locally. All right,
Yeah.
we'll bring you updates as they come. We got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay. Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A Black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
What up? Welcome back. Okay. I had a fun week. Let me give a big shout out to two groups that I have a lot of respect for. Let's put it up. So, earlier this week, I had the great opportunity to be the invited speaker at the Emerging Young Leaders group at the Carter Center, founded by President Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind. God rest their soul. And it was such an intimate environment. We talked about everything from colonization to quantum physics. We had graduate students from all over the state of Georgia. I want to give a big shout out to those young people. They are the future problem solvers of the problems we did not solve. I'm thankful that the future is in good hands. All right. And thank you for the invite. Had a lot of fun with every single one of you. Such bright, brilliant, and compassionate young folk. And big ups to the Carter Center. And the King Center. Had the great pleasure this week of moderating moderating a chat about the triple evils. Big ups to Dr. Bernice King. I do this on occasion. It's called the Beloved Community Talk. It's a live show, and it's done from the King Center. Check it out if you can, all right? And we have the full show on the King Center Facebook page. The triple threat, or the triple evil that King talked about, the first evil is poverty. The second evil is racism, which in many ways is born out of the socioeconomic reality of poverty. And the third evil is militarism. We're not talking about military only. What ICE is doing is militarism, okay? And these are interlocked. You see ICE in communities that people would consider to be what? Poor, Black, or brown. So all of these things are interlocked. So we had a great conversation about that. Check it out if you can. It begins to my family at the King Center also. Okay. We got a lot of comments. I'll read as many as I can. Driver Dragon. Is it just me? Or do others think the Epstein files will go nowhere? I mean, at some point, somebody else is going to be in that chair. At some point, okay? And they are going to be under some pressure to let it all out. Congress has passed the damn law called the Epstein Transparency Act. Okay. I get what you're saying. Trump isn't going to be the one to do it. I don't believe that. All right. And CDE 71954. Doesn't surprise me. Look at the type of people that ICE hires. And Mike, nice to you. Good afternoon, Doc. Senator Nina Turner. MOD's in chat. Good afternoon back to you. Scorpios _ course. This is why he should be impeached immediately. Yeah, like seriously, not for political play. This man is actually, well, dangerous. And he has called in a very specific way. You understand what he has done? If anybody else would have done that, that is a terroristic threat. That is a threat that's specific. He, ironically, has the ability to halfway carry it out because of the command that he holds. All of the statutory requirements are there for a crime. All right. And Neon Death 07, divorce lawyers are waiting for her call. Michael, welcome to Indisputable. Thank you so much for joining us. And Neon Death 07 also says, happy Friday, Doc and Nina. Yay, back to you. All right, I got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
I'm going to post something that might be controversial. The homelessness in our town literally only comes out in the winter and Christmas and Thanksgiving time. Like, why? I mean, you see it through the summer a little bit, but not like hardcore, give me money, I need money, I'm homeless, like this. I don't have feelings towards it. I don't, no sympathy, none. Go get a job anywhere. McDonald's, Walmart, a gas station. You will never see the amount of homelessness other than when it's cold and like giving times of the year. I think that's what makes me mad, because it's like they prey on people to get money out of them. Like, where the fuck are you in the summer? Oh, you're cozy and comfy in the woods in the summer, I guess? Like, I just can't.
You know, this is one of those Karens where I really don't have to provide much commentary. The second video basically does all the work for me, because when she posted this, let's just say the internet reigned supreme. Here it is.
I wanted to make a video because just as a gentle reminder that everybody is human. You know, I try to practice what I preach. I try to be the best person I possibly can. But we all know that the devil is very, very real. And sometimes we slip up, and sometimes we, you know, don't practice what we preach, or sometimes we aren't as Christian as we want to be sometimes, right? We are all human. That's it. That's it. You can't, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. So there's no, oh, well, she said that, or, oh, well, he did this. Like, that is just plain and simple. It is what it is. And so I posted a video yesterday on TikTok, strictly clickbait. Wasn't my feelings, wasn't my intent. I saw it. I saw an opportunity in my head, went with it. How my brain works. I'm like, what can I do to go viral? What can I make to go viral? What can I say to go viral? And I feel like that honestly is probably the devil in itself.
Put it up. Full mass. You see, this is what white Jesus does to people. She's confused. Utterly confused. This woman says she has no heart, no regret, no sympathy, no nothing. With some big ass shades on, asking why are homeless people homeless. It is insane. And then she apologizes for herself, talks about her own humanity. And ma'am, I'm trying to be a mirror to you. Everybody is one, even if they are blurry. You don't talk about the humanity of the individuals that you decided to give no dignity to in your first commentary. Have you no remorse for them? For how you decided to moralize against them? Do you feel that they're human? That they may have made a mistake or two? That they're not preying on anybody? As a matter of fact, they're in that position because they were preyed upon? You took that time to just apologize for yourself? Come on, man. Do better. You go to church according to your commentary. Do better. Christ said what? What did Yahshua say? Jesus said, when you did it to the least of these, you did it to me. Disciples said, we never clothed you. We never fed you. He said, but when you did it to them, you did it to me. So that also means, madam, that when you decided not to do it for them, you decided not to do it. Got me? All right. Okay. Sit at your thoughts here.
The devil made me do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Must have been.
Oh my God. Doc, I'm telling you something. The internet gathered her. I mean, she was gathered.
Quickly.
Real quick. Okay, so that's why she had to get on there begging for forgiveness. And I agree with you. That's the white Jesus get you hooked up like that. When you really need some help and some guidance, it got to be black Jesus with the sandals on. That's the
That's
one.
right. With the sandals.
I just I was, you know what? I'm not gonna be ugly today. The woman is asking for forgiveness, and hopefully she has seen the light. And I hope she understands that people don't sign up to be homeless.
Right.
I mean, that's the part I'm not getting. And then when she said, "What y'all do in the summer?" What did she say? Cozying up in the woods. Cozy.
Yeah. I mean, it was just.
Yeah, just outrageous.
All right. Okay. Good luck to you, man. Okay. A sheriff's department employee breaks into the evidence room in order to contaminate his blood from a DUI arrest. Gets caught, gets charged with multiple offenses, including burglary. Put it up for a mask. So this is a developing story, obviously. So a former employee with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department could face up to 3 years in prison now for allegedly breaking into an evidence storage facility, removing and damaging his own blood sample. The Sheriff's Department has not released a photo of the employee. This is not a cop, according to the narrative. So Tommy Ray Trimble, 60, was charged with 1 felony count of second-degree commercial burglary, 1 count of preparing false evidence, and 1 count of destroying governmental records. He also faces additional misdemeanor charges for destroying evidence. According to a release from the Los Angeles County DA's office, Trimble was an employee of the Sheriff's Department who worked as an evidence and property custodian at the LASD crime lab in Downey. Now, I'm going to cite a little bit of contributory negligence here. If you know the man has been arrested for DUI and said evidence may be in his proxy. What, Senator, I'm trying to help him a little bit.
Can I just jump in? That's just like allowing a bank robber to be all up in the vault, okay?
That's what I'm, right. All right, so he's a custodian of evidence, okay? They got evidence against him. Going to him, he was just doing his job. July 2024, all right? Trimble was arrested on suspicion of DUI. This was on 91 Freeway in Compton. He was charged with a DUI, and his blood was drawn as part of the investigation. The DA's office said months later, when an LASD criminalist examined the collected blood sample, they noticed that the sample had been damaged. Okay? So you can't utilize a damaged sample. There has been typically some type of custody or custodial violation of the evidence chain. So investigators, they didn't know. They just believed. They believed immediately that the custodian of evidence must have done this. I think they set you up, Trimble. Let me just say that outright, brother. I think they knew you were going to touch that evidence. Let me continue. Who was still employed as custodian of evidence at the time. Accessed the vault where his own blood sample was being stored for prosecution. Removed it. The man heated it in a microwave in an attempt to destroy it. District Attorney Nathan Hotchman said Trimble's alleged actions were not a mistake, but a concerted effort to fluke the law to escape justice. We entrust our public officials and law enforcement officers to uphold the law, not break it. Hotchman said those who perform civic service should be expected to be held at a higher standard. Trimble is expected to appear in court Friday. And so we'll follow this. You know, they don't say how they prove he did it. Now, that's not part of the official record yet. All right, they may have the evidence. You may have some video somewhere, but to the county, you know the man. I mean, you went there to get the sample to prosecute the guy, and you knew immediately he must have did it. Why? Because he's the custodian of evidence. Okay, Senator, come on, man.
I know, Doc. I got three things. One, Forrest Gump. Stupid is as stupid does. Number two, he tried it, Doc. He tried it.
He tried it.
It was wrong. But the brother, he tried it. And number three, I want to know where that microwave is. Okay? Y'all need to get rid of that microwave real quick.
I hope they don't pop popcorn in that microwave. All right. We got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Let me remind you of our brand partner, the only wireless company, only wireless service that actually gives you money back. Dope product, okay? $50 a month, Noble Mobile. I'm not crazy about the name, and it's not growing on me. But I am crazy about the $50 a month unlimited. And what data you don't use, guess what? They give you that in cash back. Not Noble Mobile discounts or some kind of funny money. It's actual cash back. Get to spend how you want to. On average, people that switch to their no bull plan, they don't use all that data, don't need it. They save between $500 to $1,100 a year if you switch. All right, real easy. tyt.com/switch or utilize that QR code that you just saw. Okay, a lot of comments for read as many as I can. Next TYT reporter. That's the problem these days. People will do anything to go viral. It's disgusting. And really showing the worst side of humanity. Well, it wasn't her, sir. It was Satanos. It was the devil that jumped into her, according to her narrative. Andrew Martinez, I can identify with this. I love hearing Nina's laugh when it comes to these outrageous Karens. I do too. And Guam with Capsized Dragon. The devil made me do it. Well, how do I know the devil didn't make you apologize too then? That's a great point, because that was not a what would Jesus do apology. All right. Great point. And yep, I think this is Scoutolo. My apologies if I butchered it. 56. I'm an atheist. Being a Christian or any other religion has zero to do with being decent and kind to other people in need. And that's correct. 100% correct. As a matter of fact, I have never met a bigot who wasn't Christian. So I make the lines very clear. Everyone whom I've ever known to be a bigot has identified with Christian evangelical values. I refuse to allow them to hijack my faith. And so I believe in the God that Joshua talked about, which is in here, not in the sky. And he said, for the kingdom of God cannot come with observation. No man can say, look is here or look is there, for the kingdom of God is inside of the heart of man. And that's how you determine if somebody is actually connected to love, because God is love, which means love is God. All right. Just thought I'd say that, add that. But thank you for your comment. The most corrupt jail, most corrupt sheriff's department, we've been reporting on them for damn near 2 years. Rankin County. In the news again. They already criminally assaulted 2 black men that we brought on the show, shot one in the mouth, partnered with another jurisdiction to go rogue, kidnapped them, accused them of sleeping with white women in Mississippi. And then the sheriff gets ousted for stealing government property and basically making not only those who are incarcerated, but also his own employees work on his plantation like they are slaves. That came out. Now, this, here it is.
So a former deputy has leaked more videos of Rankin County jail guards mocking an intellectually disabled inmate, recorded just a few days after guards made a video of them shocking him in an electrified vest. And those videos were getting passed around by guards and deputies at the Rankin County Sheriff's Department. Okay, first, a little context. Last week, our team at Mississippi Today published an investigation that found widespread brutality by guards and jail administrators going back at least 13 years. You can check out that story link in the comments. During that reporting, we also obtained a video showing guards shocking a man named Larry Buckhalter with an electrified vest in exchange for a Coke after a guard told him to give his consent. Larry died in 2021, but his family and people who knew him said he was intellectually disabled and that disability was obvious to everyone who knew him. Larry's family said that one time Larry told them he was afraid to go back to the jail and that the guards there called him Crying Larry. Former guards confirmed that nickname and said that guards used to tease Larry and make him perform humiliating tasks, like shocking him with a stun vest.
Now, understand, anyone who would do that, especially a group that has normalized that kind of behavior, they've internalized the doctrine that says somehow this is okay. That kind of extreme disregard for the humanity of that brother permeates and becomes the lens that they see their worldview through. And we have seen that in other stories, in other corruption scenarios at this same jail. That wasn't the only video that was uncovered by Mississippi Today. Yes.
Earlier this week, a former sheriff's deputy sent us 2 more videos of Larry taken just a few days after guards shocked him in the vest. In the first video, Larry is wearing a party hat and he sings happy birthday to someone named Barry.
Happy birthday, dear Barry. Yeah!
That's probably a reference to Barry Vaughn, the former captain of the jail, who is now the undersheriff in Rankin County. If you look closely, this office is just like the one where Larry was shocked just a few days earlier. 2 former guards and a former deputy told us that this was the office of one of the highest ranking guards in the jail. A few former guards also told us that the second video happens in the office of the sheriff's wife, who works for the department. In this video, someone wearing a sheriff's department uniform is hiding behind Larry and slams a wet floor sign into the floor behind him.
Yeah, I love y'all, man. Thank you.
When we shared these videos with the sheriff's department, the department attorney, Jason Dare, said that Larry had a crack problem and that he'd never been diagnosed with a disability.
Put him up. He has a crack problem. That's the reason your deputies engaged in criminal mischief. Are they giving him crack at the jail? Since you say he has a crack problem. You all are cowards, feckless, spineless, picking on the weak to make yourself feel big because you know you're small inside. So to recap, Mississippi Today, they uncovered 2 newly discovered videos taken inside of the Rankin County jail. They show cops mocking and laughing at a disabled man. The same man guards had filmed days earlier being shot in an electrified vest after he wanted a Coca-Cola. Former department employees said the videos recorded in 2019 were shared widely with an encrypted WhatsApp group chat. That's called culture. The footage provides a deeper look into the culture of the jail. Recent investigation by Mississippi Today and the New York Times revealed that guards and jail administrators routinely beat the incarcerated unlawfully. In one video, Larry stands before the camera in his prison jumpsuit and the party hat and sings happy birthday to Barry, an apparent reference to Barry Vaughn, the former head of the jail. He is now the undersheriff. In the second video, someone off camera instructs Larry to tell him you love him. Quote, "I love you, Barry," he says, gleefully announces it's his last day in jail. As he speaks, a man in uniform standing behind him slams a plastic sign to Larry. Startled, Larry jumps and screams as people off camera laugh. The former employees also said the third video was filmed in the office of Christy Pennington. Who is that? Well, that's Sheriff Bailey's wife, who works at the department. Sheriff Bailey, whom we have previously covered on Indisputable, had allegations by 4 former incarcerated individuals and a former deputy that the sheriff had for years supplemented his family's farm's workforce with trusted jail inmates, according to them, and used taxpayer purchased equipment and resources to tend his property. Slave labor. That's what he was doing. We talked about it. And indisputable. The sheriff is still there. The videos were created days after Larry had asked jail guards for Coca-Cola, October 2018. Shortly after his request, the guards strapped him into an electrified vest intended to keep violent inmates under control. Then they filmed him screaming and convulsing while they shocked him. That's seditious. A depraved mind. Quote, "Now you get a Coke," a female guard yells at the end of the video. Quote, "It's all over. I'm so proud of you, Larry." End quote. One former Rankin deputy who requested to remain anonymous because he knows he was part of a gang, not a police department. He feared retaliation from the department. Shared the 2 new recordings of Larry with reporters. That former deputy, along with 2 former guards, said the video showing Larry being shocked and the video of him singing happy birthday were both filmed in the office of Amanda Thompson, who was a lieutenant, a jail lieutenant at the time and still works at the department. The reason why the ranks are important. If you go to, let's say, a halfway decent county jail, we call them white shirts. You go to a halfway decent county jail. Let's say a guard is acting out of line. Let's say a sergeant doesn't know how to control them. You call a white shirt. You get a lieutenant, you get a captain. They typically will enforce the rules because they are accountable to a higher responsibility to the public and to the sheriff, who's an elected official by the people locally. You have the white shirts organizing the corruption. Imagine what it looks like at the level of the guard with no rank. Put him up. In an email, Department Attorney Jason Dare said that Larry Buckhalter, who died in 2021, had a crack cocaine problem, but was, quote, never found to be mentally incompetent by a court or healthcare professional. Larry celebrated countless birthdays, life achievements at Rankin County Jail. Dare wrote, quote, he never went hungry. He was never brutalized, both of which he claimed were regular occurrences in the free world. Dare continued, although Larry could not give his side of the story for your article, these videos perfectly show his genuine affection for the RCSD. The fact you tried to spin it as mockery is a shame. Keep his picture up. Sir, you sound silly as you look. You want us to believe that being shot with an electric vest is playing. Why don't you put one on? Do we have a video of you being shot? You like to play, don't you? You think it's fun. You talk about Larry like you had respect for him. He was a friend. He celebrated birthdays. But the first sentence out of your mouth, he had a crack cocaine problem. Sir, your comment, never found to be mentally incompetent by a court or healthcare professional. You see, I want everybody to look at this man and understand the spin that he's trying to sell you. You see, a court, they don't determine if you have a mental health issue. They don't determine if you have a mental health situation. Sometimes they're seasonal, sometimes they're situational. They determine, are you competent to stand trial? Which means, do you know the difference between right and wrong? Very low bar. And that's it. They don't determine this other stuff. They don't. His family says it was clear to everybody he was intellectually disabled. LaQuanta Anderson, Derek Shutter. These are niece and nephew, Larry. Review the videos and Derek's response. They said their uncle lived with an obvious intellectual disability. Quote, everybody knew he had a mental issue, Anderson wrote. Quote, and when people find that out, they take advantage of it, end quote. Larry never mentioned these incidents, they said. But he told them he was afraid to return to the jail, saying the guards there called him Crying Larry. He hated it at that jail, Shoto wrote, adding that in the videos, they're clearly treating him like a puppet. So while Larry is inside of that facility, he's actually playing a character in order to survive, but it's hurting him on the inside. Sean Trudell, Commissioner, Mississippi. Public safety guy called the video of Larry being shot, quote, appalling and utterly unacceptable. Finally, somebody who's normal and makes sense and has some common respect. The insanity will not rule the day. Mississippi Bureau of Investigation agents have been assigned to investigate the incident, he said. Last week, the New York Times of Mississippi Today revealed that for years, jail officials had beaten and whipped inmates who broke jail rules or inconvenienced guards. More than 70 former inmates, along with former deputies and jail guards, described experiencing, witnessing, or participating in said violence. Their allegations were supported by medical records, photos of injuries, and department reports, along with the cell phone recording of guards shocking Larry. After seeing the video of Larry Buckhalter that accompanied the original investigation, 2 former deputies told reporters that additional videos of guards mocking Larry had circulated over encrypted group messages. It made the rounds, said one of the 2 former deputies, Christian Dedman. Dedman, if you remember, recovered that story as well. Was one of the 5 former Rankin County deputies and local police and a local police officer, some of whom were part of a patrol shift called the Goon Squad, who were sentenced to federal prison last year for torturing 3 men. A 2023 investigation by Mississippi Today and the Times revealed that nearly 24 residents experienced similar brutality from deputies during drug raids over nearly 2 decades. Last year, reporters also uncovered an encrypted WhatsApp group chat where members of the Goon Squad traded pictures of rotting corpses and joked about sexual assault and shocking people with tasers. While Larry is no longer here in this dimension with us, he's moved on. It is his videos that has put the nail in the coffin of these corrupt actors. All right, Senator, thoughts here?
I mean, they're sick. I'm really glad, as you laid out, Doc, that somebody who's thinking came in and said, this is wrong, it's unacceptable, we're going to do something about it. That entire jail, as far as I'm concerned, should be cleaned out. They should get rid of everybody there and start over from scratch. This is very reminiscent of other eras in this country's history, where particularly Black people were treated in this manner on a regular basis. I am really happy, though, that there's some light here. And Doc, kudos to you and the team for continuing to highlight Rankin County. And it's Mississippi. You know, it's Mississippi. I'm thinking Nina Simone, Mississippi, goddamn. You know, that's what comes on looking at that and the way that these people are comporting themselves. They ought not be public servants at all. I mean, we shouldn't even use the term. And they're doing this on the taxpayer's dime. They're doing this to other citizens on the taxpayer's dime. Clean out the whole place. State investigation. If we had a better DOJ, which we do not, should have been a DOJ investigation. Doc, and you've been doing this a long time with your team. Did the Biden administration ever step in?
I'm gonna tell you who did. No, the Biden administration did not, but I'm gonna tell you who did provide some assistance, and that was John Ossoff. Senator Ossoff has been investigating jails and making sure they're documented properly, the injustices that have happened. But the federal government did, in fact, prosecute the individuals. They did get prosecuted via the state, but the federal government also got some of that too. So the DOJ was involved to that degree. However, it took a lot before these individuals met justice, and we had to do a lot of, as most time, a lot of documentation, a lot of interviews, and a whole lot of fanfare around something that should have been done on day one when the report was made.
And you know, when it comes to people who leak information, thank God for those officers who either were never participating in it but were around it, because you're on a job and you could be in an environment like that, or some of them might have started off thinking that this was funny and fun and saw how outrageously dangerous and inhumane. So for whatever reason, thank God for those people on the inside who were able to be on those lists and see videos and get this stuff, and for their courage or conviction, or maybe a little to bring it to the outside. Thank God for that.
That's right. And it's never too late to do the right thing. I'm reminded, before I go to break, of a guy who decided to become a whistleblower, and he provided information to me directly. And I said, "You're a good man." He said, "I'm not a good man." You're a good man today.
Amen.
We just need somebody to be a good man today, a good woman today.
Good woman today.
That's it. All right. Rest in peace, Larry. We got more on the other side. Indisputable. Stick it.
Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. Well, guess what? The United States Coast Guard, they said swastikas, actually not that bad. We're going to say non-racist. Take it out of the hate speech category. A few days later, actually, guys, they are bad. We're going to put it back in that category. It's hate speech. Pretty clear. Put it up for a mess. In the 1920s, since obviously we need a history lesson, in the 1920s, the German Nazi Party adopted the swastika as its emblem. After World War II, the symbol became permanently linked to, well, Nazism, anti-Semitic doctrine, and hate generally against any non-Aryan group. Due to the association with the Holocaust and white supremacy and killings, Germany, Austria, Poland, Brazil, and France, they have banned public display of the swastika. They will lock you up. They will put you in jail if you play with them. Yesterday, it was reported that the U.S. Coast Guard would no longer be identifying the swastika as a hate symbol. And then, after extreme backlash, they've since backtracked on that decision. Why are we even doing this? What is this about? Who's checking for this? MAGA didn't even vote for this. The U.S. Coast Guard would no longer be identifying the swastika as a hate symbol under new guidelines set to take effect next Monday, according to the Washington Post. But an administration official is already calling it fake news. The Post reviewed documents laying out the new guidelines, which take effect on December 15th, and the swastika Nazi-era symbol will not be classified as potentially divisive. The Confederate flag and nooses are also reported seeing their classifications downgraded from the previous band of hate symbols. Confederate flags are not, however, allowed to be displayed under the new policy. There's more. According to the Post, a, quote, potentially divisive symbol being displayed should be investigated by a superior, and then that superior is to consult with the legal office. The new guidelines also reportedly require incidents to be reported in 45 days. There were no deadlines previously. Tricia McLaughlin, the Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs at the Department of Homeland Security, later called the Post report a ludicrous lie. Ludicrous lie. Okay. But the Coast Guard official anonymously spoke to the Post and expressed major concern about the new policy change. Quote, we don't deserve the trust of the nation if we're unclear about the divisiveness of swastikas. End quote. The official said, the official also took issue with the supposed 45-day deadlines, arguing the deadline could be potentially problematic. Why? Because service members are deployed. That's why. Real simple. Quote, if you are at sea and your shipmate has a swastika in their rack, and you are a Black person or Jew, and you are going to be stuck at sea with them for the next 60 days, are you going to feel safe reporting that up your chain of command, the official said? But see, that's the whole reason why the 45 days is like. All right, after extreme backlash, the Coast Guard reclassified the swastika and nooses as, once again, symbols of hate. The U.S. Coast Guard on Thursday issued a memo that reclassifies swastikas and nooses as, quote, hate symbols in a rapid about-face after facing intense scrutiny for a previous policy change, which downplayed their display as merely potentially divisive. The newest memo expressly prohibits the display of nooses, swastikas, or, quote, any symbols of flags co-opted or adopted by hate-based groups as representations of supremacy, racial or religious intolerance, anti-Semitism, or any other improper bias. It was released hours after the Washington Post reported that the Coast Guard had approved a policy that downgraded the way the symbols, which are some of the most recognizable emblems of racism and anti-Semitism, had previously been classified. The newest policy released yesterday says, quote, divisive or hate symbols and flags are prohibited. It lists swastikas, nooses, and other emblems that may have been adopted or co-opted by hate groups. They created a problem out of absolutely nothing. They solved the problem that was created out of absolutely nothing. And we are still left with the real problem of actual racism that they have not, will not, and have proclaimed won't address. All right, Senator, thoughts?
Do these people have anything to do, Doc? I mean, they're just digging in their little trunk of tricks, pulling out stuff. I mean, but you know what? Thank God for that person in the Coast Guard who leaked this stuff out. It is not fake news. You know, this is real news. I'm glad that they were quick enough in this case, because they don't do it most of the time, to do a total about face and put those symbols back where they belong, which is at the top of the list of symbols of hate in the United States of America and in the United States, but you know, even in the world. But we only control what's rocking here. But Doc, I'm just shaking my head. They obviously don't have enough real work to do.
Yeah, obviously. Okay. Incompetence and the like. All right. Hopefully no update to that story. Got a question for you. What in the red state hell?
You can take a gun, shoot somebody in the face. It's not hard. Sometimes it might even be fun if they're a godless commie.
Now what they're trying to do is sneak the COVID vaccine in your salads.
I hate math. Somebody say amen.
Mr. President, what did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago. It's really, what did he mean when he spent all the time with Bill Clinton, with the president of Harvard, you know, that is Summers, Larry Summers, whatever his name is, and all of the other people that he spent time with. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years. But he also saw strike because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to himself, give me a break. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan chairs.
Sir,
Yeah,
if
Jennifer,
there's
go
nothing
ahead. Go ahead.
incriminating in the file, sir, why acting as a...
Quiet, Piggy.
Y'all know Trump snitching. Put him up full mask. Anytime you talk about his late friend Epstein, he starts popping off about Clinton and JP and what about a hedge fund guy? You want me to give you his name? Sir, it's not even convincing. You named about 7 people, sir. The question was about the email. You don't have an answer? Hell, Bundy gave you the file in advance. You could have come up with some kind of response. You being lazy, sir, about your own life. You got to care about yourself more than this. You knew this question was coming. And then you called the reporter Quiet Piggy. What? Okay, let's get into it quickly. Who was Trump speaking to? He was speaking to Bloomberg's White House correspondent, Catherine Lucy. Let's put her up. She's an accomplished political journalist, 20 years of experience, joined Bloomberg nearly a year ago, previously worked as a White House reporter at both the Wall Street Journal and Associated Press. Senator?
Doc, I don't know what you want me to do with this. The man is uncouth. I mean, really uncouth. And thou protests too much when it comes to this list, which, you know, raises my suspicions more and more and more and more. Release the list. You know, I'm glad he finally signed the bill, Doc. And you know, now he huffing and puffing about having signed it. But I hope he knows that the people who really want to get down to the bottom of this really don't care whether it's Republicans or Democrats. We just want the folks who did the damage to these young girls at the time and then young women, it got to be exposed and hopefully brought to justice. I know this stuff happened a long time ago. It's like, some of these young women raised this issue even in the 90s. For some, this is new information.
That's right.
Stuff has been floating out there for a very long time, and shame on us. But Mr. President, why? I mean, he act like he acts worse than the kindergartner. I'm sorry, I ain't about to malign kindergartners. I'm just not gonna do it.
Don't do that. They would have been much more coherent.
Yeah,
than
and
he is.
respectful.
All right. Right, and respectful. Senator, always fascinating to have you brilliance on the program. Tell people how they can follow you and check out your great work.
Always good to join you, Doc, on Indisputable. Nina Turner on Twitter, Nina Turner Ohio on the gram, and then through those two things, y'all can find it all out. It's 2 threads. Doc, there's so much stuff out there now, But yeah, and we are somebody at Strike for All. We are somebody for my organization. Great, always Indisputable family.
Thank you for all your leadership. All right, until next time. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.